Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. For the general public, my apologies for last week. I promised you last week that I'll do a midterm one that would be on Wednesday. And then something happened. Life happens. My wife got into a small accident. I had the emergency flight back to Russia. And I was offline for the last 2 weeks, I should say. So my apologies for not posting last week as well. Don't worry, my group also didn't get anything from me, which means my group was just working on their own. And that's great because we have an amazing group where if I'm not there, we have enough very, very successful, very, very great traders who can take care of it. And I mean not one, but a lot of them. So that is the most amazing thing of the group we have. A lot of you have wrote me during this week and last week asking me what happened to the webinar. Well, now you know. I will try my best to do it, every week for you guys. But if you don't want to miss out on that, you might want to consider joining the group. The group is not only about me. You will know that now, right? So joining my group is not really about buying a course. It's about being in a group of amazing traders. And regardless of what you might hear out there about me, or you might have read out there about me, the group is not about me. The last 2 weeks has proven that our group is not about me. I started it, but it's not about me. It will be here long after I'm gone. Not like I'm intending to go anyways anytime soon, right? But I know that long after I'm gone, this group will still be here. And it will still function as effective as possible. So you might want to consider that if you want to be among great people. Let's go. Let's start. So I'll start with daily index. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to split the webinar in two because I haven't been in the charts for the last 2 weeks very much. I've rarely got a chance to get into them. So a lot of things I will have to do the long term as well as the short term. So I'm going to do the Forex first. And then later today, I will do the stocks and the cryptos for you guys. So expect 2 webinars today. Time-wise, it will be too long to do one. So let's start with dollar index. I'm going to do some of them on the daily so you can see it did exactly what we wanted to do. If you watch the previous 2 weeks, when I tell you this one is too sharp, this cannot be it, this is not enough of the correction, we're making a bigger correction. We need to break the top because we didn't break the low. So now 2 things we can expect. We're still in a sideways move. Oh, 1 second, let me make sure I have my drawing tool. No, don't tell me I didn't get it. Give me a second, please, guys. I thought I had it. Let me see Zoom. Okay, got it. Yep, should be okay. Yes, there. So 2 things we can expect now. We can expect either a sharp move back here, and that means we're going to go back up here before we come down. That will confirm a flat pattern, with this being a flat in the middle here. And the reason I think this one is going to happen is because of the sharpness of this move here. If you can see, right, these 2 are pretty much more corrective than that one. So that seems to be like the impulsive move in that flat that is forming. Now, there's also a chance that this one is not finished. That one is still ongoing, right? Which means that we would watch, we do have a flat there. I think we can look at that as a possible running flat there. So it might be over. We do have divergence. Those are enough signs they're going. We just need a correction here, drop, correction, drop, maybe a bigger correction, drop, and then we'll see maybe it will come as sharp as this one with no big corrections in it. Is it possible they come here and still continue to go? Well, we can deal with that. That's the point of wave analysis. You can deal with that. You will understand it. You will see it on the lower time frame, and you will know what to do. I'm more inclined to believe we're coming back to the low here. And we might not break this low. We might just come down with a sharp enough move to go back up once more. Go to the 4-hour. We have divergence. You can see the divergence here. The possibility of this being a running flat is very clear. We spoke about that because of the way this was going up. I think I've shown this on a number of charts. And we've broken the top with divergence in play. Now, the only question is whether this is finished. We do have divergence there, but the question is whether that is finished because this is a little sharp. See, this one here is a little sharp. It does have 3 waves in it, but it's a little sharp. So all you need is a little flag here. Go for this one. Expect the possibility for one more up or total downside. It wouldn't make a difference to which one happens. You get into the trade and you manage the trade. right? That's the second part of it. The first part is your entry. The second part is how you manage. And the third is how you exit, right? So that's how your strategy should be built. Now, I know a lot of my traders are already in the buys and sells in most of the majors. I've seen that in the trading room with what they were posting, which is amazing. Good job, guys, because there were patterns to go. So we'll go to the 1 hour, and in the 1 hour, you can see there was sell setup. There was more than one sell setup, as a matter of fact. So if you guys got those trades, and I know you got them, that's amazing. Now what you would wait for is probably a bigger one. A flag like this would be a good sell setup. If we get a flag like this, we'll sell. And I think we're making one here. It could also be a bigger one, right? Because you have a small one, this could be a bigger one, and then the drop comes. I don't think we're going back up from here, but we'll keep an eye on that. Most likely, if they're going to go back up, you're going to get a sharp move like this. You're going to get 1, 2, 3, and then up. So if this becomes a bigger 2 here for a drop like that, we'll see whether we go up or we'll see whether we go up or whether we continue to go down. Those are the two possibilities. Wait for that setup and we're going to get the trade. Right? So there is a flag. Even if it's a small flag, we'll sell it, we'll manage the trade. A small flag could possibly be just a break even for a bigger correction, which means if this becomes a small flag, we might break and we might go back up. You can look for 15 minutes divergence here if that is possible. I don't want to do all of that. This is the only one I'm going to talk about 15 minutes. We don't have 15 minutes divergence. Take the sell. If it becomes a 15 minutes divergence, which means if you get this trade here and it drops like this and decide to go back up, we know how to get out for break even, because this could become a bigger one and then drop. Or wait for the bigger correction, then take it. If it's a very sharp impulse down, the bigger correction might not be now. It might be a little later. But if, you guys know how to do it, so I'm not going to stress that very much. Wait for the flag, sell it, we'll manage the flag. Either get the flag goes and we get the good trade, or it becomes a break even. We wait for it to go up. We might even buy our way up. I don't think buying it would be a good idea. Let it go up, look for the sell. Right? Let it make this bigger correction and look for the sell. I mean this bigger correction here, and then look for the sell. So it's either this drop up, down, or this continue to go, and then we get a bigger one. But a bigger one is coming. Let me move that down a little. I was looking at that about a week ago, so it's at the top there. I'll put it back here, and let's go. Silver, great. It's a big flat. You can literally see that, right? Remember last week I said it's going to come back, test this low, and then upside. Great. Now the only question is whether this is finished. We never know whether that is finished. Can it drop one more? Remember last week when I think it was Friday when I was in the room, I didn't manage to do one webinar last week in my room. We expect one more drop. That happened. If you took the trade, you took the profit, right? You should. It's going up. Now this could either go back to the top, even break out. I don't think we'll be very long in here, but this is a little sharp, but it's a 3-wave. If they make a 3-wave there and come back here, that would be no problem. We're still correcting for upside. Big picture is still upside, right? Big picture, you're correcting here. And like I said, we might stay here a while, because if you look at the ones when they came down, okay, sorry about that. Erased. If you look at this one, it became bigger. If you look at this one, it became bigger. I wouldn't be surprised if they come here and go back down and then go up, right? Which means this becomes a bigger correction. Pretty much like the dollar index, right? That possibility exists, but it looks upside right now. Question is, again, is this finished? We're breaking out, but that doesn't mean anything. This could still drop one more and then go up. We get a flag here, we'll buy. It start to drop, you can consider the sell. I think the sell is something we'll have to consider, because it might be the final drop, right? We're in a big sideways. That means you most likely want to get the upside, right? Because the next big impulse is to the upside, not to the downside. The downside has some shorter, small impulses to go, if there is any remaining. Gold is the perfect buy setup, right? Gold did exactly what we expected to do, which is go sideways. Can it come down one more? Of course, you can probably see it come back here. I think most likely they will do that, and then we'll probably get the upside. Can it stay here for a while and then go? Yeah, possible, right? We know how to trade that, right? We know when to, you can even try to get a buy from the bottom if possible. So this is pretty easy a buy setup. Even if it comes down one more lower, no problem. Can it make a sudden drop deeper before they go? Happens sometimes. So if you're going to consider a sell, you'll probably have to do it on 15 minutes from the top if you get a sell setup. I'm pretty sure a lot of you can manage a trade like that. If we get it during a news event, we might consider it. If not, we're going for the buy only. I can see them dropping one more because you can see the flat here. I think for my traders, you clearly see that flat there, which means one more drop, but the drop is just to break this low. It's just to break this low, right? Probably drop here and then go back up. So if you guys can manage it, you know how to do that, right? It's still a sideways move for upside. So if you're watching this channel for the first time, or you're a trader who watch me often but not so sure about your, your trading skills level, you might not want to take the sells in a flat like this. You may want to wait for the buy setup. Euro broke the low. Question, is it ready to go up now? Right? So we broke this low. That's what we want because we didn't break the top. Is it ready for upside? I think we should start looking for the upside. And I think some of my traders might be in the buy already because there was a buy setup here. There was a buy setup. Now, the only question you would have is the same thing we have in the dollar index, whether this is all the correction or if this is going to make something more like that, come back, retest the low and then go. Because it is going to go up. The question is whether it has one more down before that happens. Right? We're going sideways. I don't think we've broken this low as yet. If we break that low, we'll get a big running flat. No, we haven't broken that low. And I don't think we'll break it, but it's possible, right? And if they do come down like this and break this low, then go back up, well, we'll be heading for a running flat, right? We'll probably get 1, 2, 3, get a flat there, then we'll get 1, 2, 3, and then up, come back down, if that happens. If they don't break the top, then it could be more upside, right? So either this becomes a running flat here and we go up, which means break the top, come back down and then go, or within this piece here, sorry. Not this one should not be the top to the upside, take that one out. We're looking at this piece, the upside, sorry about that there. If we come back here, sharp, come down here, this might not break the top. If they come back here, we're looking for upside. I think we're good. What's happened to my drawing tool? Sorry about that. Here it is. Yep, this should come back here, come down here and then go. We may or may not break this top. So the buy is a good idea. All you need to know, make sure that this is the down move is completed. I don't think it's possible. Get into the buys and we'll see, we'll manage them. If you get a flag here, we buy. If it goes up here and come back down, we exit the trade, we sell, and then we look for buys again. Possibility for running flat here exists. Right? We'll keep our eyes on that. It could be also that's the end of the structure and we're totally going up. Pong. That was a good sell. It kept coming back to the low within the 4 hour. If this does break the low, we will go with that one. We looked at that option last week. We'll go with that option and then we look for upside. This would be pretty sharp in that case. But if they go up without breaking the low, we can go straight through the top. So we'll have to see which one. It's going sideways. I think this is just a running flat. I don't think that's the top when we're trying to go down. But if this comes here and go back, if it breaks this low and then go there, we'll look for one more down. We'll definitely look for one more down because this would be a running flat. If it breaks the low and go back up, we'd look for that. We'd still look for the buy setup. So at this point, you're probably looking for a buy setup. That was the last sell setup there. I wouldn't, even if this is going to drop, I wouldn't sell this one. Right? I'll probably sell something else, not the pound. Aussie had a really good drop, which is much deeper than I expected. We're in the daily correction, and this is still the first impulse, right? We're in the daily correction, and that is just the first impulse down. Because this small flat here cannot be the B wave. So that's like a B wave in the A wave impulse down. So this would come back up somewhere here, come back here, and then go. We'll end up with a big flat somewhere here. Impulse, correction, impulse. So this is the A wave impulse going down right now. Go back to the 4 hour. Do we have any divergence forming? We do have some divergence here. It's not complete as yet, so we can start to look for upside. If it turns out the flag, sell it. That impulse has a lot more to go down if it's going to go down, right? There's still a lot more to go. So if it ends up you getting a flag here, we'll sell. If you get a flag for buy, you can buy it. I think if you're going to sell, it's going to be more of a correction. For the upside, any flag is a buy. We're getting a flag here for a buy, actually. We'll just have to take the buy and manage it. You're getting a flag here for a buy. Take it and manage that buy. Especially if we get any news event that could drive it really fast up, it would be a good one. Because this now is going to be the first impulse up in the daily correction in the B wave, right? So if even in the B wave, the distance that it has to go up would be about, let me see how much. So even the first impulse in that one would be pretty high. We could go back all the way to the top. We've come down some 905 pips. It could be a 200 pip spike for the first impulse, come back all the way to the low, go back up. B waves can do that. So it doesn't mean if you're in a B wave and you're getting a buy setup, you will not take it, because that's a 900 pip movement. It can go, a lot of spikes happen. We don't even know how complex that pattern is going to be. This might be the sharpest impulse up in it, and then we have a flat in the middle, and then you get another wave, right? So any buy setup would be a good thing to do, take the buys. Sell will have to be let it drop, make a flag, and then sell. It's more of a buy right now as it stands. This one is less of a buy, actually, because this is going up really slow. And it's same thing. We're in a correction. We're in a daily correction. Pretty much the same thing here. This is the daily impulse. This is the daily correction. Let me take this off. That's the top of the correction. This one is definitely too sharp to be the correction. Even in the daily impulse now, that is definitely too sharp. So at some point, you're going to get this, you're going to get a running flat, and you're going to get a drop. Now, whether that becomes all the correction or just the A part of the correction, we'll see. But this is definitely going to be a running flat. That's almost guaranteed to happen. So we'll keep an eye on that pattern. Upside could be sharp like this. If you get a buy setup, go for it. It doesn't have a buy setup right now. I think we can drop one more. They might consolidate here, drop one more, then give us the buy. Swiss, correcting. We're in a big correction in the Swiss. Really big correction, and we're in the middle of that correction. We're exactly in the middle of this. So even if we assume we're coming to break the low, we're in the middle of it. If we're assuming this is going to be a flat for upside, we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of this move down. Right? We've got to move down. We've got to move here. We're consolidating in here. We're going to go up. We're going to come back down. Probably might even go back up, or we might drop, break the low, and then total upside. So in the middle here, any trade you get is going to be very short term. It's going to be a single impulse, very short. Get in, get out, take profit. This is not going to go very far. There's a chance we're going to get a buy here today. That might be very short because this is the flat. This is the correction in the middle of this one. They'll probably go there, drop here. If this turns out to be a flat, we get one more up, and that's if we're coming back. So trading, if you're trading the Swiss, it's making a big correction. You're really in the middle of the mess. So you've got to be careful of any trade. Impulses can happen like this, but they're short term. They'll stop and they can reverse everything back. So if you get a trade set up and you take the buy, be cautious. I think this buy is the one you have to be more cautious, because this is the impulse down within that. This is an impulse up. There's a series of impulses that needs to make at least a pattern. So if you're not good at getting in and getting out really fast, stay away from Swiss. Yen. We're pretty much in this structure, right? So we haven't broken the top of that as yet. We did tag it. The question is whether we're going to come back, go to the low, or whether we're making a correction all the way to the top. So let's move this one here now, just a little higher. I can take this off. We don't need it. We're looking for targets on that one. Put it in the 4 hour. We're literally going sideways. And I'm not sure that this is the end of this correction. We thought this would be the running flat, right? That this would be the running flat and we're going to go up, but it's not the running flat. It could be a part of a running flat, but it's not, because you're consolidating in here. A running flat means you take off. The features of a running flat is there, but it didn't take off. So this could be the B part of it, which means you're going to get one more of that up, one more down, and then go. This would be a bigger running flat here. That is the most likely possibility of what is going to happen. Come back to where we are here, take this off. You can see there's a sell setup. I wanted it to break this top, right? The sharp impulse, go up, come back, go up there. It looks like it's going to be more complex than that because this move is going up not as an impulse, but more as a corrective structure. See this piece here? This is sharper than this piece is going up here. So it's still a sell setup, but they'll probably drop here, go back there, then come here, and then go back up there. This is going to be a flat. Can it become a running flat, which means break the top and then come here and then go back up there? Also possible. So short-term trades in the Swiss and the yen so far are very short impulses because you're in the middle of a correction. You're probably not even in an impulsive part of the correction, but you're in the most corrective part of it. So this sell setup should be out. We can look for a sell setup from the top here anywhere. Be aware that it might be more complex, which means they might come here, go back up, then give us the drop. And this drop is short because we're in this move, which means it could go back up there, complete this pattern, and then drop. So any sell setup you take or any buy setup you take has to be short term because you have two impulses to finish. You have this one and you have that one. You have this one and you have this one. And all of this is inside of this. Inside of this. Right? So we're just making impulses. We haven't found the core of the B waves yet. CAD, amazing. Like I said last week, even if they break the top, they have to come back down because breaking the top is just giving you a running flat. Now, the question is how complex this running flat is going to be. Let's look at this two ways. Let's go back to the daily and look at it two ways. First, this is the flat here. This is 1, 2, 3. We're coming to retest the low and then go up. That's an option, not necessary, but an option. And that option, we should keep that open, right? We should keep that option open. This is the flat. What's wrong with my drawing tool? I have no idea. Sorry about that, guys. That this is the flat. This is 1, 2, 3. This will come back, retest the low, and then we'll go up. That's one option. Second option is, oh, this is getting annoying now. This is the flat forming here. And we're just going to continue to go up. Remember, in the weekly, we broke the low. So if we broke the low in the weekly, we can totally go up. So any sell setup you take, and you should take the sell setup, we'll have to manage it for this flat first. And if that flat is negated, we're going to manage it to break the low and then up. All you need is a sell setup here and sell. You should be selling. I think you guys probably got in that trade already because there were sell setups. At least I could see one sell here, two sell here. This one probably on the 15, if you guys were very keen about it, you got it. If not, wait for a deeper correction or something like this. Wait for something like this, and that would be a good sell setup if you get that. This was the buy. And remember last week when I was in, I said you can take that buy because the possibility is it could be a running flat. Turned out it's a running flat. I think it's a running flat, or it's the end of the structure. We're going down totally. So if we get a correction here today, to this week, not today, this week, if we get a correction, that would be a perfect sell setup. That'll probably take a day or two to happen. That'd be a good sell setup. If you get a small 1 hour flag and you sell it, be aware that a bigger correction is coming right after the 1 hour flag, because we had 2 1 hour flags already. Well, not 1 hour, 15 minutes flags. We had one, you had a smaller one. So if you get a bigger correction here, that'd be perfect. Maybe a 1 hour correction, let's put it that 5, 6 hours sideways would be a good sell setup. Maybe something like this, a little smaller than that would still be a sell. So let's say we get a sell on the CAD, get a sell on the Swiss, and a sell on the yen. The CAD is the best sell. If you get buy setups on the Swiss and the yen, those will be short term. CAD will correct to the upside. So any buy in the CAD is out because that's correction. Any sell, the CAD is the best one because potentially you can go and break the low on the daily. Aussie yen, good sell if anybody took that one. It dropped. Let's see where we're going. Any sell setup, take it. Any buy setup, that would be short term. Yeah, we might get some short term buys. This was a good one, but any sell setup we should take. We're going down big time. If it starts to become a bigger correction, if you miss the first impulse of a bigger correction, sell the B down, buy the C up, sell down again. Right? Euro yen, same structure, same everything. This one, we're not going to go with any sell because we still haven't broken that top. So as a matter of fact, we'll keep track of this. If we get buy setups, we might consider that. We don't have any buy setup as yet, not on the 1 hour or the 4 hour. No, it's still going down, and it can still go down for a while more. We can reset this like that and pull it down a little like this. Yeah, we're still in the downtrend. It means there's still more downside potential unless we get a flag here. This looks like a flat. You can make an argument for downside here. But if you get a correction here, we'll consider the buy, because the buy will break out of the structure, and that means we can retest it up. New Zealand yen. Okay. These were the two patterns we looked at very well, and they did exactly what we wanted them to do. That flat, actually, I did this 2 weeks ago when I showed it was going up, that we expected to make a flat there and then drop. That's exactly what it did. So I was off, but if you were on and you're paying attention, there were sell setups here, there were sell setups here, there were sell setups here. You're probably getting another sell setup here. Now, after you break this low, every sell becomes shorter, right? Because we broke the low, pattern is completed. How low this can go? Who knows? Can we go back all the way to the low totally? Well, that depending on how you look at the bigger structure. We don't have time to look at that right now in this webinar. But if you're looking at this as a possible running flat, I think not that one, a bigger one, but even if that one, we can come back to the low. If not, you're just making a correction for upside. That is just a big correction. So every trade you can take to the sell, take off once you get a drop on an impulse, take the profit off. Do we have any buy setups? No. No buy setups. I think we're just correcting here for downside. At least of now, there isn't any buy setup. This thing has to make a sharp impulse up, start to make a correction, then we'll consider buy. I think all the yen pairs have sell setups in there. Okay, this one is pulling back. Let's see what's the biggest structure. So far, just a pullback. Take this off. We broke that top already. So far, this is more of just a pullback. And we've had sharp pullback like that that fell. This was a sharp pullback. Kind of did this drop. This was a sharp pullback. Kind of made a 1, 2, 3 drop. So if this makes a correction here and go there, we expect more downside. Right? So that's just a pullback. Wait for a flag. You can consider a buy. Buys are not very good in these sharp moves. This one didn't give you a buy because it came deep and it never really broke that top. This gave you a buy, but that would have been more of a break-even trade. And I don't know whether we'll get a buy. But if we get a flag, we can buy it and see how far it goes. Right. And then we'll see whether it becomes a big flat for the drop. We do have some divergence, but that at this present moment doesn't really mean anything as yet. Swiss, more of a sell. You're getting a flat here. That's a sell. Even in the bigger picture, it's a sell. Right, Swiss was the only clear sell setup we had because of this sharp wave. And this one will definitely drop one more. Now, the only question, if that is all the correction, this one is going to drop really low. So keep your eyes on this sell setup. If it is not, which means if we're making a more complex pattern, they're just going to do this and then go back up there. And we'll probably stay here for a while before you go. But it's a sell setup and it's worth taking. Let's go to the 1 hour. Can we get it from a higher point? I think we can. We can allow this to break the top and then try to get it from here going down. If we can get it from a higher point, that'd be great. If not, wait for any flag on the downside sell. You probably don't want to buy it. There's a little more to the upside. We don't want to buy it. We don't know how high it's going to go. All they need to do is break this top. So we expect it to go there and then we look for the sell setup. Can it go higher than that? Well, unless this is really becoming a complex correction. Breaking this top just makes it super complex. That's all. It's still a complex correction. So we'll wait and see. Could it be we're reversing? I don't think so. Because of this sharp impulse, I don't think we're reversing as yet. Because if we're reversing, we'd have to look at this as a flat. We'd have to look at this as 1, 2, 3. This is the impulse up. We should get a flag, go, flag, go. We shouldn't have a deep pullback like this. So either we're making a bigger flat here, which means you're going to make a short impulse here and go back up, or you're totally dropping. This sell is a must. We should not miss this sell. That's a must sell. Regardless of what the outcome is, we should take this sell. So we can put this as a sell. Take that off. Euro Aus. Okay, this is going much higher than we expected. It's actually getting very sharp. Started really slow. I mean, there was a huge mess here, but now it's getting really sharp. I still don't see this as the impulse to the upside. It doesn't matter that it's correcting so deep. It's correcting deep within this move, this entire move. It can even go higher, but that's not the impulse. Impulses don't look like that. Remember the euro impulse, the euro correction that we had that went on for about like 2 years? It doesn't mean we're not buying in this, but it's not the impulsive move, which means you can buy every flag you get. And we chose a lot of flags to buy. You can sell every sell setup you get. This is most likely a buy setup today as well. You can see that this is more of a consolidation happening here. And if they do that, that's a buy setup. We don't have a sell in it as yet. Right? There isn't any sell setup there to downside. It would be a good sell if you get it, but there is no sell setup. So it's more of a buy setup, even on the 1 hour. See? The 1 hour, you're looking for more of a flat here. Short-term sell on the 1 hour. Yep, this could be one. Come here. 1, 2, 3. Kind of a 1, 2, 3 here. This comes here, we'll probably go back up. How long this is going to be? Who knows? If you take the short-term sell, you have to be able to get out once you break that low. Put it to break even at least. So any sell setup is very short-term. Any buy could be a longer one. So you're getting a sell setup. Because of this, the sharpness of this, you might just drop here and go right back up. Come back down. So if you're taking the trades, if you're selling the flags here, put it to break even, see how far it goes. If it gives you enough for profit, take the profit off. You're in New Zealand, more upside than downside. Let's go in the 4 hour. Yep, that was a flat. We're breaking out. We're making a flag. Perfect. We have a lot of divergence, but it's a buy setup. So there's one more impulse, just about one impulse after that, take the profit. It's a daily chart, so the impulse is pretty huge, right? You could get a pretty big impulse here. After this correction, you get a pretty big impulse. We might even get a buy from here going up because it's going to come back down to retest this low. Right? You're just going sideways. They're going to come down a little. I think this should come back to this level here. It could probably stay here for a while, but any buy setup you get from here or from here is a good one. Right? Any buy setup from the bottom of that flat looking pattern is a good buy. Euro CAD. I think we tagged something there and we're coming down. Sell setup. This is a good one. Look for a flag here. Go for the sell. Back to the low. It will break the low eventually. I don't think we'll break out now, but we're eventually going to break it. Go for the sell. Euro Swiss. This one is a little difficult. Because if we look at this as a correction, we'll have to go with this as a contracting flat. Not a good one. So my best option is we look at this as a possible running flat and expect one more up. So if you take out this line, because of the sharpness of this one and the confusion in the middle there, I think we're probably heading for a big running flat. So if we get buy setups here, we should start considering it. We have a sell setup, short-term sell setup forming here. Right? It's a short-term trade, not a long-term trade, because I don't think we're going down totally as yet. Any buy setup after that would be great. Pong buy setup, you should take them because we broke the low. We broke this low. And this could be total upside, or we could still be in the flat, depending on how you look at it. If it's a contracting flat, we broke the low and we're totally going up. If it's making a running flat, which means if this is making a running flat, we're going to come back to the top here, drop again, and then go. So all buy setups will take. You get another buy setup, you can take it. It's forming actually a flag at the top there. You're making a flag corrections. That should be upside. Why is Pong? Okay, Pong Yen. Let's go back to the daily and the Pong Yen. We want to see where we are. I think this one is strange because we had this flat here. We were assuming that that was the flat and we're going to come down. I'm not sure if this breaks the top. We'll have to check that. I haven't checked it. See whether this breaks the top. It could also be that that is the flat and this is coming down. Looks like we're going to break this low and then go back up. Let's see what we have on the 1 hour. Well, if they're making a correction, this is the first impulse in it. We're not going to go so far. If this is the first impulse, we're probably going to be here for a while and then drop. So if this turned out to be a correction, go for the sell. We don't have a buy setup. There was a buy that's finished. That's a short-term trade. I still think it's more downside before we go up. Let me see if we break the top. If we broke this top. We didn't. So this could be the flat. This here could be the flat, the running flat. Which means this could drop beyond this low, even if they're going to go back up. I don't think we're going back up. In the big picture, in the weekly, all the yen pairs are downside, right? In the weekly. We just don't know whether that downside has started yet. That doesn't mean we don't trade them if we get sell setups. Every sell setup you get to trade. Pound Aus, one more buy. Big picture, still correction, pretty much like the Euro Aus. In the big picture, we're correcting this. Right, we're correcting that move upwards. It's going really, really sharp. Right, we're more than 50% already of that correction. So on the 4 hour, we do have divergence, and that will probably stay there for a while. And we will take any sell setup we get, but if you get buys at the top here, I really wouldn't like taking buys. I like taking the buys from the bottom of a structure because you have to come back to retest the top. When you're already at the top, it's just one guess how far it's going to go. Right? So if this makes a deeper correction, the buy here would be a better one than if you have to buy in the break of that top, which is not a good idea. So if it makes a deeper correction, the buy would be okay. As it stands right now, it's a flag, buy something else. Don't buy the pound yet. Don't buy the pound all, sorry. Pound CAD. Okay. It's doing exactly what we wanted to do, and we're getting a running flat here. So we could still get a good buy setup. When we had this sharp one and it started to do this, we knew we were going to end up with a B, a C, a bigger flat in the middle here. Go take out the top and then come back down. So let's go through this because you can watch this back for months. We've been tracking it for months, right? We had this flat in the middle here. We assumed we knew that one was going to go. We knew this one was going to come. And we definitely know that if you complete this flat, you're going to get this one out. What we didn't know is how complex this one was going to go up. We started trading it from the bottom here. I mean, from the very, very bottom. My traders will tell you, we started trading this thing way down from this one, under 15 minutes from this level, and this one, and this one. And we were stuck with a lot of trades that became break even. And now you've got it clear. This is going to go up, except it's going to probably go from somewhere here. So let's assume these two are going to be equal. That's an assumption, not a fact. That these two are going to be equal. It will probably come here and then go back up. Now, that's not guaranteed for them to be equal. It can be shorter, it can be longer, it can be a expanding flat, which means it go beyond this point. But if you get a sell setup, you can take the trade, get out of the trade, and definitely go for the buy to break this top. And then we get into the bigger sell. So on the big picture, you will not see all these confusion that you're seeing here because it will look sharp. Once this gets to the top there, this flat will be perfect. And then we're going to get this move down. Well, from that point now, question remains, is it total downside or is it going to go back up and retest the top? I think this could be a huge flat. 1, 2, 3 within this move, which means we're stuck in this thing for a very, very long time. Let's go back to the 1 hour, get the sell, and then get the buy. So if you get a sell setup here, which you might or might not get because this one didn't give much of a sell setup. There was one small flag here. This wasn't even a flag. If you get a small flag here, go for this trade. Make sure you get out, and then we'll look for the upside. Right? It's just one huge running flat forming right now. And it's looking really nice. I like it. And then you definitely go for this. This one up could be really sharp. right? Because we've got a lot of slow moves already coming from the bottom. So that one could be really sharp. Pound Swiss, kind of going sideways, just going sideways. We're not going down as yet. That's not an impulsive move to the downside. It's more of a sideways move for one more up. Looks like we're doing one of this for one more up. Do we need one more up? Let's see in the bigger picture. Yeah, you could still get one more up. It's possible, especially if you make an assumption that this here is making a running flat. You could get one more up there and then come down. If you go for that assumption, and that assumption is very likely. So go back to the 4 hour. Just a big correction. Maybe just one big weird correction here. So if you start to get buy setup from here, we can take the trade. If this turns out to be a flat, it's one impulse. Go for one impulse. Take profit. But the buy you can keep for a longer trade. So let's see in the 1 hour what we have. I think we're looking at a sell first. You're looking at a 1 hour sell setup here to finish off this move to the downside. So you take the sell, take the profit off, wait for another flag, take the sell, take the profit off. But any buy setup we get, we'll take it. Because there's a bigger move to the upside, but there are short-term moves to the downside. And you have to be careful with the sells now because we broke the low already, right? If we're looking to break any low, we broke this low already, right? So these are short-term trades. They can go more, of course. We can keep selling, but they're very short-term trades. So you would not want to risk keeping one of those trades. What you want to do is get in, get out, take the profit. If you do sell it, right? If you take this sell setup, it make one drop, you get your profit, get out, wait for the next flag. If it reverses, make a flag to the upside, absolutely buy it. I'll be in the room, so I'll keep it going for, you know, we'll look at those and see how we do it. Pound New Zealand, what's this doing? Let's see. Still the correction, look for the sell. We broke the top, right? If we broke the top, we start looking for sell setups, right? Every time you break that top, let's see if we broke the top. We did, so we start looking for sell setups. We don't have any sell setup here right now. It's in the 1 hour. Nope, nothing. That's not a sell setup unless you consider this here to be some weird correction for downside. We don't have a sell setup still, right? But if we get a sell setup, we'll take it. Can you take a buy for one more impulse to the upside? I think buy something else, because every time they break that top, you don't know how high they go, but they don't really go much higher, right? They just literally break the top and turn. In very few times you'll find that they go higher. We broke the top, we came down back. We broke the top, we came down back. We broke the top here, they came down back. This was the only one that went higher, right? You broke the top, you came down back. You broke the top, you came down back. You broke the top, you came down back. You could likely come back here. We're in a correction. The big drop is to the downside. So any sell setup, you go for it. If there's going to be a big surprise, it will be most likely to the downside. Short-term upside, possible. Not a good trade. If we get a sell setup, this turns out to be a big running flat for downside, that would be an amazing trade. So keep your eye on this one. If this piece here or this whole piece here turned out to be just a big running flat for downside, we'll go with the trade. See this one here? Perfect, right? This is not perfect, but it looks correct. If it looks like a running flat, go into 15 minutes, figure it out. Go into trading room, figure it out, and look for the sell setup. Aussie Swiss. Let's go daily. We're coming down pretty deep. On all Aussie pairs, this is the correction, right? Weekly. On all Aussie pairs, we're assuming that we're correcting this move up. Right, that move up, we're assuming that this is a correction to it. Now, how deep can a correction actually come? Well, if you look back at this one, that correction actually came back to the low and then went up. Now, I don't know whether we're going to repeat that same thing coming here and then going back up there before you get something like this, or if they're going to just make a flat at the top here and then continue to go up. We'll have to relook at the whole bigger structure to get that. But for now, we're going down, and I think this is the first impulse to the downside. So if you get a correction in here, and I mean more of a correction, we go for the sell. If this starts to reverse back to the top here and make a flag here, a correction here, we're going to go for the buy. We'd assume that this is over and we're going for the buy. So 4 hour. Right now, you're getting a sell setup on the 1 hour. That's a 1 hour sell setup. You can take the trade, take the profit. This was a sell. I think we remember that one last week. Look for sells. So take the trade, take the profit off, and wait for the next flag. And it's more of a sell setup forming here. Can we get a short-term buy into it? Maybe not. This looks good. This comes down here, give you a flag, we go for the sell. What if this just corrects, keep correcting upwards? If it keeps correcting upwards, you can consider the buy if you can, like this one, see how much that corrected before it dropped. What if this is going to correct that much before they drop? Look for buy setups. Take them as short-term trades too. Aussie CAD. Same here. Go back to the daily. Sharp move. We're correcting that sharp move. We're going downwards. So, yeah, probably another flat here. I could see the possibility of another running flat here. Looks like a smaller one. You get sell set up, go for it. Let's go in the 1 hour. No, you don't have any sell setup, but if you get sell setup, we can go for it. We don't have any sell setup. I have to wait for a flag. Pulls back, make a flag, we can go for the sell. Buy setups are not there. Aussie, New Zealand, probably stay out of this. I know this one is, it's actually correcting here. So if they correct long enough, then we can look for a sell. If this stays here within a while, we'll look for the sell from the top. But as of it stands right now, I think the best thing is to stay out of it. New Zealand, Swiss, we're at the bottom of the structure, that's a buy setup. Every time you go to the bottom of this structure here, kind of this structure, okay, you're traveling within that channel. It looks very corrective on the daily. That's more of a correction for upside. So every time you get to the bottom, you start to look for buy setups. Even if you get a sell, it's going to be short term, which means if you got that sell is short term, if you get, well, we don't have a sell here. This could become a sell. Come back here, go there, it will be a short-term trade and then upside. Can it drop out of that structure? Yes, they can. And very often that happens. They drop out of the structure, reverse back into it, make flags and go. So if you take a sell here, it's very, very short-term. Structural change for longer-term downside? I don't know how far they're going to go. Can it work it drop like this and then go back up? I think unlikely. Possible, but very unlikely. We can still take the sell. You just have to manage it. If you get a sell set up, take it, just manage it for break even, which means your worst case scenario is going to be break even. New Zealand CAD. Kind of a big sideways move. Let's see where we're going with that. Downside, most likely. But it's consolidating in here now. We're consolidating in this range. So you've got a flat in the middle there. You're going to come back here. You'll have to go back up, probably even all the way to the top there. And then come down back. Okay, this would be your first impulse up. This is going to be the flat in the middle, and then you're going to go there and come back. It's very complex. If you take any trade in here, you just go for short-term trades. Wait for a flag. Drop to break these lows, take profit. Expect upside. This is a complex one. I bet the best thing is to stay out of it. CAD Swiss. We're kind of, we expected this to break. See this? We expected that to break, make a low. It's look like we're going back up for one more like this. Complete this running flat. Come back down here and then probably go. Okay, that is becoming a big running flat. I don't think this is all the correction. I don't think this is part of that flat as a running flat setup. I don't think so. Contracting flat for that matter of fact. So I think we're getting this is all as a P wave coming from this point. This is probably going to go back up there and then come. So if you get buy setups, we can go for it. Let's go into 1 hour and see if we have buy setups. Not as yet, but all you need is a correction here and you're going to be ready for a buy setup. You need something like this to confirm buy. Okay, let me go through back. Sorry about that. I don't know why it keeps like this. And then we can go for the buy. What if it drops here? Ignore it. If it drops, just ignore it. You don't have a sell setup, but a buy is definitely something we'll go with. And the Chinese yuan, it's kind of going sideways. So most likely we're going to get a drop. I'm going to see this more as a correction. It's going up, but it looks more like a correction. This, we thought this was the flat, which means this should go break the top, right? That's one option. The second option is that the flat was inside here. This is more of a 1, 2, 3, and this one is coming down. Either of those two at this moment is possible. Structural change will tell us which one it is. So right now, if you get a buy setup, you take it as a short-term impulse. One impulse, take profit. Within this move, watch the top. If we break that top, we'll start to look for a sell setup. Sell either to totally break the low or for a bigger running flat. Right now, it's a short-term buy. So what I would do is I would stop here because this webinar is pretty long. It's about an hour almost. I will stop this webinar here today. If you watch it to the end, great. Please help share it. And we'll take a break and we'll come back and we will do the cryptos and we will do the stocks and we'll put it out there later. So if you want to see those as well, just come back, watch the second webinar. 2 webinars will be out on YouTube today. It's too long. I don't want to keep it so long because we had to go through a lot of details. So thank you very much for being here. Thanks to my group and thanks to those who watched on YouTube. You can also share it anywhere that it's possible to share it. It's legal and it's allowed to share. You can share it. You can share it with friends. It's free with no obligations. So share it. Let the traders see it. They might like it. I can tell you that for sure because I've been convinced by people who never watch technical analysis, who only watch fundamentals. And I'm pretty convinced that this thing has something to it now. Because I've been showing them how you can track it and how it's moving. And I'm not telling you about an ordinary trader anywhere. I'm telling you about people who have been doing this for years and really have a serious, strong basis believing in their fundamentals. After seeing what I've shown them, they took to taking my advice and went to exit their trade. And so far, it was good. Every now and then, you're going to make mistakes. It's human. We all do. In our case, mistakes might not get us in the trade. We might just miss the trade. If we expect an up and it go down, well, no big deal. We're not in most times. When we do get in, we have strategies how to get out really fast if we're wrong about it. Are we going to be wrong about some of those patterns? Absolutely, because we're forecasting them. We're not doing hindsight trading. We're doing forecasting. And all forecasts can have mistakes. So thank you very much for this. I will see all of you later. My group, I'm going to close it and you can join the trading room. I'll jump in there for a few minutes and then we will take a break and then come back. So I'm going to close everything. I'll see you in the trading room immediately. And we'll just discuss how we're going to run the day when we're coming back for the next series, when you guys can come back, and then we will go from there, right? So thank you very much. See you in the trading room.